I want to hit the transition here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
For the YouTube audience.
Yep. Hi, YouTube audience.
I want you to repeat what you just said so that we can create a new episode on the Score North YouTube channel.
Of course, I just got a note from a guy, and we were in a very important meeting, so we didn't hear this until now. That Pat McAfee on his show,
I listened to it.
Former Colts punter, Aaron Rodgers' best friend in the entire world, is all in on his show today, which is Thursday, on Kirk Cousins. Now, Declan, the floor is yours.
For the Colts, right?
Yes. The former Colt wants Kirk Cousins for his former team.
He was talking about game managers. So they brought up Jimmy G. And then all of a sudden, he's pontificating and talking about it out loud. And he says, you know what? Give me Kirk Cousins. Give me Kirk Cousins. He also is aware, though, like the Colts have some other holes to fill. Like I think they got to re-sign their tackle. Jonathan Taylor might be a free agent here coming up. But he said he was all in on the idea of, I would play it, but he does, in classic McAfee fashion, because I listened to it, he does drop a couple S-bombs, so I can't play it on the show.
Yeah, we re-racked this show on the radio, FCC.
So unfortunately, I can't play the clip, but he is in on the idea of Kirk Cousins, which he even acknowledged that I can't believe I'm even saying this, but I'm now in on this idea.
But you know what? Here's the thing, all right? This is where the lines get to be blurred and gray in terms of Kirk Cousins' value to certain teams versus others. In 2018, Kirk Cousins was a valuable pickup for the Vikings that didn't pan out. 2022, Kirk Cousins makes almost no sense for the Vikings, who need to reset, get younger, et cetera, right? And then there's another layer of like, regardless of how perfect the situation, does Kirk have the necessary intangibles to take that team as far as they want to go? And that's just a gamble that teams are going to continue to take until he can't play anymore, right? The Colts are in kind of a similar situation to where I would say the Vikings were in like 2008 looking for a quarterback, or they're like kind of a fringe playoff team. They got a lot of pieces in place. Kind of not quite where the Vikings were in 2017, because the Vikings were an NFC championship game and the Colts, despite having a 94% chance to make the playoffs with 2 weeks to go, whiffed. But the Colts have $70 million in cap space. They have a really good defense. They've got the best running back in the NFL, Jonathan Taylor. They've got a much, much, much better offensive line than the Vikings do. The weapons to throw to are not as good. That's definitely a thing. But they can, they've got tons of free agent money. They could go get someone. They could draft someone. They can upgrade those weapons. And Carson Wentz was one of the most reckless, game-wrecking quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right.
So you could probably, with Cousins, tap into all of the upside that Wentz gives you, which like he gives you some upside, but he doesn't give you like Aaron Rodgers upside or Pat Mahomes upside, and minimize the game-wrecking damage that he does. And it sounds like Carson Wentz was more of like kind of a toxic or immature leader behind the scenes. Cousins is more of just like an absentee, I just work here leader. He's not like toxic to your locker room necessarily, unless, there was a huge... I mean, do you guys disagree?
That's what we're going with for sure. Kirk Cousins would be great there.
I don't think he's toxic. Do you think he's toxic?
I don't know. No, and I think...
He's a better fit than Wentz, I'm saying, for that team.
He absolutely is. And he has a coach who has had success with QBs. Now, people will come back and say, well, that's O'Connell, right? But to your point, these teams are at very different places. And the Colts are at a place where they need...
But they won the same number of games, didn't they? Isn't that kind of weird?
Yeah. Well, they completely fell apart. But what you could do is basically convince the Colts that the Vikings had the right idea in 18, but they had the wrong coach. They screwed things up. They didn't make the playoffs. But if you were to now transplant Kirk and give him a second chance, a back to the future where he could transport himself back to a 2018 situation, this is it. I think, look... We both heard that the Colts called the Vikings and at least inquired, which again, just like the Panthers thing, is a phone call. It's not a let's do the deal right now. But the Vikings asking price at this point in time appears to be incredibly high, which is fine. But if the Colts say, oh my God, what are we going to do? Because the Colts, I don't think going bridge quarterback and, oh, whoops, we won 7 games is an option there. It is here. We can debate it, but if you win 7 games with the Vikings next year, it's not the end of the world. There are a few teams that we certainly identified on Purple Daily today where it is a major problem. if you don't win enough games to at least give yourself at one of 7 playoff seats. A lot of playoff seats right there.
Yeah. The other thing the Colts are staring at here too is, even though there is a 7th playoff seat, there's like 11 teams in the AFC right now that are looking at those spots saying, oh yeah, we for sure belong there. I mean, look at the freaking competition in the AFC right now with quarterbacks, teams that think they're a Super Bowl contender. You can go through a list of MVPs and borderline MVPs before you get anywhere near Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins is an upgrade over not having a quarterback right now. So if you're the Colts, this is where people keep shutting this down. Like, no, they're not gonna, or like I know that you heard that they had initial discussions and the Vikings had the bar set too high. It's like that conversation is going to evolve over the next 3 to 5 days. Now maybe they settle on Jimmy Garoppolo, but the Colts have a ready-to-win roster right now. And if they really want to make the playoffs in a hyper-competitive AFC, they need to land one of these 3 guys: Jimmy Garoppolo, Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins. Unless you guys think they can bring Marcus Mariota in and win 10 or 11 games and make the playoffs, that's to me, that's wildly risky if you're them, right?
And don't discount too, it's an important factor that Garoppolo cannot take part. If he gets traded to you tomorrow, he is supposedly at the earliest going to be able to throw the football, physically throw.
If no setbacks.
In July.
If no setbacks.
But the off-season camps now are at least deemed to be important,
especially if you're trying to learn a new system, new teammates, etc.
So if you want to plug in at the start of OTAs, mini camp into training camp, a guy that can actually work with your offense, your team, your receivers. Garoppolo is not on that list. Mm-hmm. Now, if you say, I don't care, that's fine. But yeah, Kirk Cousins, this is the whole thing. This is where the Kirk Cousins discussion, to me, gets incredibly nuanced, right? Because the comeback is, well, you guys said he sucks, and now, no. And look, is Kirk Cousins an improvement on Carson Wentz? Absolutely.
Yes.
Like, I'm not doubting that. But what I am saying, and it's why I continue to talk about the rest of the changes the Vikings are going to make, is it comes a point in time with some teams, the Vikings right now, where it's time for a reset. So, this is not a personal indictment on any. If they trade Danielle Hunter tomorrow, do I think, oh, that's a great move? Well, probably not. Mm-hmm. But do I think, how dare they trade Danielle? Now, 2 years ago, absolutely. What the hell, right? But this is reset time.
Yeah.
And so Kirk Cousins with the Colts or a team that needs to win, and oh my God, Kirk, win us 8 damn games. You can do that.
Dude, think about this. Like the Colts, Jim Irsay was the one, it sounds like, driving this decision, the owner of the Colts, to get rid of Carson Wentz. They had buyer's remorse. They thought they were signing up for something different. They didn't like the way that he sabotaged the last 2 games. I don't think they liked the fact that he didn't get vaccinated. They didn't like his leadership.
Yeah.
It was full buyer's remorse all across the board.
Yep.
But they still have aspirations to win big. The Colts viewed themselves last year as like a low-key, make a run in the playoffs type of a team, kind of a sleeper team. Mm-hmm. And so you tell me, I keep going back to this, but you tell me if quarterback is the missing piece to the puzzle to take them from 9 wins to 11 or 12 in their minds. Again, I'm not saying that this is actually what would happen in a competitive AFC. I'm saying in their minds, they're looking to go from 9 wins to winning a division and making noise in the playoffs. Are they going to do that through the draft this year?
No.
Probably not.
No.
Are they going to do it through the bridge bin of, let's say, Gardner Minshew, Jameis Winston, Teddy Bridgewater, Marcus Mariota? I would say maybe. Like if you tap into the best version of Jameis Winston, the best version of Gardner Minshew, but there's considerable risk in that bin, right? Mariota's a former number 2 overall pick. Do I think that Frank Reich could get something out of him? Yeah.
Right.
But that's a risky bin. And then you get to the other 3, the actual guys who have been consistent starters in the NFL.
Right.
Jimmy G, for all the reasons you just said. He cannot work out with you in the new receivers, system, new offensive line teammates, and he can't throw a football till July, and you're trying to win right now?
It's a problem.
That leaves Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson.
And and Kirk is a great sell to the Colts in particular because Carson Wentz, through his play, sabotaged you. The man from his own end zone against the Titans in an extremely competitive game through a left-handed pass.
Kirk will find the fullback for a check down there.
Exactly.
Okay?
Right.
Come on.
Which will eventually drive you crazy. But you always want the opposite of what you're divorcing, right? And Carson Wentz was this maniac. I mean, he just was crazy. Kirk will drive you crazy eventually. But right now, the selling point is Kirk's not going to do that. Kirk wouldn't. The odds of Kirk Cousins ever ending up with the ball in the wrong hand and throwing it are 0. Now, he'll fumble the damn thing.
He'll line up under the right guard.
Right, exactly. But those at least aren't throwing a left-handed pass from your own end zone. So, yes, this is why these conversations make perfect sense. And it also, as the market continues to decrease of available guys from the list that you just read, Phil, it's also why if the Vikings are playing this right, you do drive a tough bargain because eventually a team will say, well, crap, okay, we'll do that. And you say, yes.
So interesting.
This is a great time.
The Colts make so much sense. It makes sense for the Vikings to collect some draft assets. I just want to, what is the Colts draft pick scenario for this year?
They don't have.
They gave up their first.
Yeah.
So it'd have to be like a.
But I'll take a 23.
I mean, if you could get.
I'll take the 23 first round pick.
Yeah. Would you take like a.
Oh.
Do they have a third round pick?
They don't have a first round pick. They have a second round pick. They have the 42nd pick, the 73rd pick, and the 82nd pick. So the second.
So they have two second round picks.
1 second, 2 thirds.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, give me your like early third round or your second round, and then next year's first round, and it is a done deal on the spot.
Yeah.
Would you guys take that?
Yes.
Yes, because I want to accumulate 2023 draft picks.
Yes.
First high draft picks, not 8 fifth rounders.
And then, okay, but now you're one of the quarterback needy teams. You just trade Kirk Cousins. Well, it's a blank canvas. They haven't been above 500 in 700 days, so it's fine. Like everything's. It's not like you're giving away a 13-win team here.
Yep.
And I would say, all right, so now you've got a blank canvas. If you do the trade we just talked about, now you have 2 first-round picks in a quarterback-heavy draft of 2023. You also still have the number 12 overall pick. If you love like Desmond Ridder or Malik Willis, I would trust the new Vikings acumen to decide, all right, this is a weak quarterback class, but holy crap, Malik Willis, and Kevin O'Connell loves him.
Yep. So
you'd have all sorts of choices this draft, next draft. And then you can bring in a guy like Marcus Mariota, who was a former number 2 overall pick, as a bridge quarterback for a lot less than $35 million. Go sign an offensive lineman. I mean, I get excited thinking about like if they can finagle this. There's a lot of potential for a window opening here in 2023.
And 2022 in itself is all about what? It's about resetting your organization, your roster, and culture.
Yeah,
and that's not the last thing that you want to do is try and force winning. That doesn't work. What works is building it right. And again, I will go back to the Vikings took their chance, right? They took their chance. We were on board, and they've now gone through that cycle, and that's done. So, yes, to say there would be certain years where a Cousins-like trade would make 0 sense.
Yeah.
Like you would say, what? Like now you have to find one. But the biggest thing here to me is this. The blank canvas aspect for a coach who was hired in large part because he knows quarterback play, understands it, and a GM. They're going to work together to fill the position, and with any luck, they are going to be the first people to find a true franchise extended run quarterback for this team since Tarkington. Yeah. And I mean, of all of the ones that we've seen, I guess Culpepper for a little while fit that. But the fact is, that's where the blank canvas aspect to me is so interesting because you've got to trust these guys to find that guy.
Yep, I trust them to paint. That's what I do. Little pretty birds, some pretty clouds.
Finger painting, you think,
clouds.
or you got the brushes?
Mm-hmm. A little of both.
Because finger painting is very interesting to me.
It is. I had a guy one time. I went
abstract
on a spring break trip in Mazatlan one year, and he was doing these like scenic murals basically on these 8.5 by 11 slates with just his hands and fingernails. Just like you look at it, it's all the detail. He would draw like a little pelican.
Yeah, I admire. I can't even draw a straight line.
then you're not allowed to choose the next quarterback
No,
of the
I'm
future
not.
to paint on that
I'm
canvas.
good with that.
But I'll criticize it.
Oh,
Should we,
I'll rip them.
Yes.
Should we go back in time here, Dex,
Yeah,
with
let's
some
do it.
old tweets exposed
Oh, boy.
every single Thursday on Mackey and Judd?
Oh, boy.
Wolves edition of old tweets exposed. Now that the Timber Pups are the hottest team around and they're beating the brakes off these crap teams, figured I'd go back and look for some old incriminating evidence from not too long ago. Let's start with Phil Mackey.
Oh, boy. Oh, no.
November 4th, 2018. Josh Okogie is a gem,
God.
and his energy creates so many opportunities.
Well,
to sit on the
the
bench.
second part of that was true. His energy creates a lot of opportunities for
Opportunities.
opposing teams to leave him wide open to shoot.
There was also a lot of Mackey tweets suggesting that you build around Cat and Josh Okogie, and everything
What?
else can probably just go away. I noticed a lot of that.
I was hacked,
You were
clearly.
You were loving yourself some Josh
Who are the
Okogie.
78 enablers that like this tweet?
Yeah.
Those people should be held accountable, too.
I agree. Well, you're not the only one that's out of the woods on Josh Okogie.
Oh, no.
Judd Zolgad, not too, just like a week before, October 27, 2019. Teagan Wiggins, impressive in the second half, but what I love is when the Wolves look in trouble, Okogie is always doing something to force a turnover or irritate an opponent, and it's impressive.
Well,
It's
at least
impressive.
Judd
he
hit on
does.
the two things that he does well. Like he is kind of he's a pest, and
Yeah, he does cause problems. Unfortunately, now those problems are for his own team.
man. We were just crawling through the Wolves' desert,
Little Jeff
looking for
Teague,
anything
Wiggy?
positive at that point.
Get Wiggy with it?
God.
All right. I don't have anything Josh Okogie related, but I do have a Wolves related
You're
take that
fortunate.
I thought I was very high on. So we'll go to me here. November 1st, 2016. I need a Chris Dunn jersey.
Hey, you are a Tips
Okay,
fan.
if this was said ironically and
No.
with tongue in cheek, then it's a pass.
No,
If it wasn't, I think you win.
it wasn't. It was said with very
Rotate.
much confidence that I wanted a Chris
dude.
Dunn jersey.
Yeah, if this is tweeted
Where is
unironically, I
Dunn
think
now? He was in Atlanta last time I saw him on a roster.
I have no idea. Let's see. Let's
That
look him up.
that whole Bulls thing didn't work out too well for him. Of course, it worked out with Levine. Yeah,
Let's see. Chris Dunn.
it's amazing what we've been dragged through by that franchise,
Oh, yeah.
isn't it?
Memphis? No. The first search thing is what happened to Chris Dunn.
I thought he went from the Bulls to the Hawks, but I might be totally wrong about that.
Okay, he has not played a game in the NBA this year. Is he hurt? Probably not. He played 4 games with the Hawks last year,
Okay, that's why I thought he. Okay,
and he has not played. Oh my God.
he sounds like a guy who's probably in Europe now.
Okay, this can't be right. He played 4 games with the Hawks last year,
Okay.
so not a big sample size. He shot 8% from the field.
It's not good.
8% from the field.
And go through that draft again. Who did Tibbs pass on to
He
take?
was,
Jamal
Chris Dunn?
Murray.
was one of 12, I guess.
Jamal Murray, I believe, was the gigantic miss there.
Well, who else was in that draft? Yeah, he was, jeez. Yeah, the 2000s. God, that's a
16.
bad pick. That was a Tom Thibodeau pick.
Yeah.
Oh, man. The next 2 players were Buddy Hield and Jamal Murray, both absolute sniper shooters.
How do you pass on Buddy Hield?
God.
I mean, Jamal Murray, too, in retrospect.
Domantas Sabonis went
Yeah,
11th.
Sabonis.
Oh, my
Even
God.
Torian Prince is.
Malik
is
Beasley was in that draft. Chris LeVert was in that draft.
Juancho Hernan Gomez even would have been better.
Pascal Siakam was in that
Karis
draft.
LeVert.
Oh, boy.
Hey, you know what? Tibbs wanted defense, guys, and he got defense. Okay.
Isaiah Whitehead.
Tibbs also about to be fired by the Knicks, I think, after this season.
Brogdon? Dude, what are they doing? Jake Layman. Jake
Jake
Layman was
Layman.
second rounder in that
He was
draft.
getting some love last night.
Jake Layman, better NBA player than Chris
Oh,
Dunn.
he got a ton of love
Yeah.
on Monday as well,
Yeah.
and the fans were chanting MVP
Layman.
at one point
Layman.
because he was at the free throw line, and
Would that irritate you if you're him, or do you just kind of
No,
find
you
it funny?
gotta.
They're kind of mocking
it'd
you.
be totally embarrassing. It'd be completely
You just,
embarrassing.
come on, Jake Layman. Like, just take
MVP.
the cheers.
I give fans here though credit. They are so starved. Again, I'll say it. They deserve this.
Absolutely.
Wolves fans, you deserve this.
And they're gonna make it. They're gonna make noise in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If they play Memphis, they're gonna make that a series. But we should probably shut up in case news breaks so Declan can post this.
Yeah, let's talk
episode
about
here.
baseball some more. How about that?
2-yard line, baby.
Listen, if they resolve this thing tonight and the Twins sign the best starting pitcher on the market, then we may talk Twins tomorrow. But
we are not doing an emergency podcast. Bleep all of these guys.
Okay, what if they sign? Who are the top free agents out there? Trevor Story.
By the way, they're saying if it gets good, free agency is going to start tonight.
This is great. I love how the owners leak this stuff. Because then when the deal does not get done, they blame the players.
Yeah, Story would be a big one. Correa. I saw 1% expect Correa on the Yankees by Monday.
Okay, if the Twins somehow sign like a Carlos Correa level free agent, do we do an emergency podcast?
No, I'm not. I'm out. Screw them. Screw them all.
I'll do it.
I'll probably do it.
Carlos Correa.
We'll make a game time decision.
Yeah.
Carlos Correa.
But in general, screw baseball, and don't forget the Twins are 0-18 in their last 18 playoff games since 2004. So
the game is this: with the ball at the 1 yard line, what is going to be the thing?
Don't over-exaggerate. It's the 2 yard line.
Okay.
It's the 2.
With the ball at the 2, what is going to be the next thing that we don't know about? That oh man, that was the sticking point.
I don't even understand what the sticking point was yesterday. So the players don't want an international draft?
Correct.
Why?
They want
it's fun.
Because they
it's already, but the money's already capped. So what's the difference?
Because they want the players to have the freedom to pick teams because it's a free system then.
Yeah, I think it's flawed or something.
It's BS.
I don't.
Well, the problem is they start recruiting players at like 12 now.
Okay, but in no sport are you just like picking your team when you're.
You're right. I'm done.
16. All right.
Look at this.
Mackey and Judd, daily Minnesota sports, therapy, entertainment, speculation. This has been Reckless Speculation Thursday. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Go Colts.